Hello, faithful, and welcome to Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio's Top Albums of 2022. I'm your host, Keven Crothers, station manager for Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio and staff writer for Heaven's Metal Magazine. Please, if you would, go to Facebook, give us a like, follow us on Facebook, Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio, like the channel here on YouTube, please subscribe. It's been a while since I've had some video content. More of it will be forthcoming. But in this video, I'm going to talk about my top 15 albums of 2022. A huge array of albums released in 2022, all kinds of genres, and it's been a great year for hard rock and heavy metal and extreme metal from a Christian point of view. But before I move forward, I would like to just make mention that this year we had two passings of members of our community that really, of course I'm talking about bass player extraordinaire, founder, namesake, Michael Bloodgood. Michael Bloodgood passed away this year. More, you can go and find out the details. His brain, he had an aneurysm, and it was a very difficult time, and he's home with the Lord Jesus now. We also had the passing of drummer extraordinaire Ted Kirkpatrick of Tourniquet. Two great players, songwriters, men who, they've been around this scene, this community, since the 80s. So, it was a very trying year in that respect. So, I'm actually just going to move right into the top 15, try to keep it as short as possible. I may have another video for favorite reissues. We'll just play it by ear at that sense, all right? Okay, guys, coming in at number 15, Deliverance. Camelot in Smithereens, Redux. Jimmy Brown II, this is his vision in full force. It's a complete redo of his 1995 album, and I was hesitated to put it on this list only because it's not technically new material, but it's a complete, you can just delete the original Intense Frontline Records release from the 90s. This album is 1,000 times better production. There's a story. The whole concept is there. Actors, it's got that Operation Mindcrime kind of thing, but musically, it is heavy, kind of proggy, kind of at times alternative. Jimmy's singing that kind of, that David Bowie-esque type vocal. It is highly deserving of being number 15. Deliverance, Camelot in Smithereens. 3 highlight tracks from that album: Somber Theme, Lindsay, and my favorite, The Red Roof. Moving on. Number 14, and of course I should have my little script thing here all laid out, and of course I don't really. Number 14, Flames of Fire, self-titled debut, featuring the one and only Mr. Christian LeJagrin on lead vocals. The vocalist for Narnia here returns with a fantastic new project. Got that Iron Maiden, Dio, Rainbow vibe. A total 80s heavy metal. Not the hair metal stuff, but that early 80s metal, European flavor. Great guitar playing by Mats Ake Anderson, and I apologize, I probably butchered that. Quite good on the guitar. I dug it quite a bit. Both of these two albums, Deliverance and Flames of Fire, came out very early this year. Unfortunately, I think really overlooked in some respects by what comes later. Highlights for me on this album include Soldiers for the King, Gloria, and the title track. Coming in at number 14 was Flames of Fire. Coming in at number 13, and I had to do a little bit of rearranging on my list, and I should have had this all laid out, right? But that's okay. We're going to keep going here. Number 13. Let's get a little heavy duty, shall we? Becoming the Archetype, Children of the Lost Colony. Yes, this isn't my usual jam these days. However, when I saw the video for the song The Lost Colony, I was hooked. It's groovy. It's heavy, deathy metalcore, but it's groovy. There's melody there. His vocal isn't just total screamo. It is got that Amon Amaranth type vocal to it. And that song blew me away. And everything on this album isn't a million miles an hour, but it's heavy, it's catchy, metallic cacophony. The Carnage here is a very heavy record. It is also a concept album. And it is, it's a great return to form. We haven't had a Becoming the Archetype album in, over 10 years? Highlights for me was The Lost Colony, The Dead World, and The Awakening. And quickly, may I say, Solid State Records. How about putting some print on a CD that you can read that isn't font number 4? Okay? The music here is classic. It deserves world-class packaging. And Solid State, you failed in this response and in this regard. Coming in number 13, Becoming the Archetype, Children of the Lost Colony. Coming in at number 12, another album that came out and then seemingly just didn't, I will say, it got some initial run like a lot of things do, and then they disappear, and I don't see people talking about it. It's not really a metal record. So in many respects, not even a hard rock album. But of course, I'm talking about John Elefante's latest album, The Amazing Grace. It's a brilliant record of proggy rock / hard rock. It's not as muscular as something from, say, Mastodon, but it doesn't matter. John's vocals sound fantastic. It's extremely well produced, like we would expect. It is not a metal record, but it is memorable. And when I started playing it, I'm like, man, why haven't I listened to this album more? So, John Elefante, The Amazing Grace. Highlight tracks for me includes Stronger Now, Time Machine, and Little Brown Book. Great songs with enough heft that should be known throughout the rock world. Coming in at number 11, here's another one. People are going to get on me because I have it so low on the list, but, I think the songs are great. Of course, I am talking about Seventh Servant, The Tree of Life, another Rox Records gem. Very much a U.S. power metal album, not unlike Germany's own Blind Guardian or Iced Earth. Of course, it does feature former Iced Earth vocalist John Greeley. It's his album. It's his band. He put it together. There is, Ripper Owens does sing on one of the tracks, Jezebel. But it's Greeley himself dedicated his life to the Lord several years ago and put together a staggeringly good band. The packaging is fantastic. The songs are strong. It would have been higher on my list, but I just struggle with it's either the mixing or the mastering, because the kick drums are way too loud. The guitar is not loud enough. It's almost buried at times on the rhythm portions. And it reminds me of the Sacrifice 3 album, where the mastering took away from the lead vocal. So it makes me wonder, was there a mastering issue here? Because the songs, oh my goodness, the songs are fantastic. The Almighty One, which is my favorite song on this album, the song White Stone, and the title track. That is Seventh Servant, The Tree of Life, comes in at number 11. Coming in at number 10, The Final Chapter, So Let It Be Done. More U.S. melodic power metal with some great proggy elements, top-notch musicianship, and stellar production all the way across the board. Great guitar tones, great drum tracks. Dive Bomb Records released this in early 2022. Some of the songs have been available in 2021, but the Dive Bomb Records release was 2022. The vocals of Trip Andrews are fantastic. The guitar work of Gary Michael Wilson smokes. And backbone of the beat being held down by drummer Dave Osborne and bass player Paul Starnes. It pushes the album over the top. Highlights here are The Edge of Sadness, The Key, which is a remake of one of their earlier tracks, and the album closer, The Hallowed Hymn. The Final Chapter, So Let It Be Done, comes in at number 10. Now coming in at number 9. Number 9. I had done a little rearranging here, and let's make sure I don't mess this up. Invariably, I might just do that. I don't want that. Coming in at number 9. All right, I'm going to roll with it, so you guys will correct me if I get this wrong. And I'm just tossing stuff around here because, of course, some of this stuff got... I did this whole video once, trying not to have to do it again. And... number 9. There we go. For the King, Let There Be Light, a Rox Records issue, album, fantastic hard rock and metal, which is really more lyrically like a praise record, but not a cheesy sounding praise record, not at all. This is excellent hard rock metal, great production. Guys come from Sweden, I believe. This is the first album by them I've heard. They've got other releases, I believe, as well. It's the Bible, lyrically, but not in a shallow, lazy kind of way. Musically, it's hard rock, modern hard rock. It's got solid musicianship, great production, and I've enjoyed this release quite a bit. Highlight songs for me are The Shelter, Let God Be God, and St. Patrick's Prayer. There is a video for the song, I believe it's The Shelter. For the King, Let There Be Light comes in at number 9. Now, coming in at number 8, here's another one that's going to surprise a lot of you, I'm sure. And this is because, I'm just going to tell you flat out right now, this album is at number 8 because it just came out. It would be a lot higher on my list if it had been out in June, but it wasn't. And it just, but to have made the list this far, because there's a lot of records that didn't. Coming in at number 8, Les Carlson's debut solo album here, Post Bloodgood, He's Coming. What can I say? Some of you are thinking this should be in my top 5. Like I say, I just received this in late November, and I've lived with it enough to know it should be in my top 10. There's some great songs on here. Absolutely catchy, memorable. They're great hooks. Really good production values. Les's vocal sounds great. Just absolutely sounds fantastic. Paul Jackson contributes some stellar songwriting as well. Great lead playing. Oz Fox contributes some lead playing. And Les's wife, Joyce, sings lead on the last song. It's a great album. Highlights for me would be album opener, I Want to Know You. One of the best rock songs this year. It is, flat out. It's not my favorite, but it's in the top 5 for sure. I Want to Know You, Faith is Tested, title track He's Coming, and The River. Les Carlson, He's Coming, comes in at number 8. Moving into number 7. Coming in at number 7 is The Brave with Gravedigger. Melodic hard rock genius. This whole record. This is the second part of a trilogy of records, and it is a beast of a hard rock. It's got that melodic hard rock AOR. Great hooks. The production is off the chart on this record. a collection of memorable gems penned by Stacey Roberts. Great vocal, great drums, great guitars, great sounding bass, everything here, guys. You know, it's amazing. It's a mix of arena rock and AOR. You know, it's kind of like Bon Jovi and Journey and Foreigner. Favorite tracks: Alive, Bad Day, Love Is the Only Place. They all scream top 40 excellence. The Brave, Gravedigger, comes in at number 7, which brings us to number 6. Coming in at number 6 is Chaotic Resemblance, Nazarites. Nasty, gritty, groovy, grimy, blistering hard rock metal. You know, they got the look, they've got the sound, great vocal on this. I mean, there were so many of their songs that I've played on the station throughout the year. Their songs on the national charts as well. Great tunes here. Josiah Prince, the guitarist of Disciple, produced the record. It sounds fabulous. The vocals of Travis McConnell, and I'm going to say this. Travis, I'm assuming you're the vocalist, because on the CD, on the Facebook page, and on the website, there's no list that I can find that says who does what in the band. I'm guessing, because based on the songwriting credits, that you are the lead singer, and it's you. And if I'm wrong, oh well. This is a great record, great album. If you like that gnarly, gritty, you know, groovy, just modern hard rock metal with an 80s twist at times, it's a great album. My favorite songs would be, you know, Driven, Passover Prophecy, Unto the Lamb, but my favorite, personal favorite, is Quick and the Dead. Great slide guitar on that album and on that song. Great hook. Coming in at number 5, a Rox Records release also, Reign of Glory, All Bow Down. The return of Robin Kyle Basari on vocals, and he sounds fabulous. Absolutely top-notch. It's a hard rock metal album with that bluesy influence. Roger Dale Martin holds down the bass duties brilliantly. Jim Chafin reminds us all why he's one of the best in the business, whether it's thrash metal, hardcore, punk, or hard rock. The guy has got, and he locks in, great groove, great player. Nick Layton spreads his guitar licks around. This has got that total 70s, 80s hard rock vibe, you know, but with modern production values. Highlight songs include Welcome to Reality, Samson's Kryptonite, and Call Down the Thunder. Reign of Glory, All Bow Down comes in at number 5, which cranks us into the top 4. The top 4. Coming in at number 4, an album I don't see anybody talking about this time of year, and I'm not sure why. We're talking about Flood, Polarized. Kind of technical pseudo-thrash metal with lots of melody. Great, brilliant musicianship. Several former members of Tourniquet returned, you know, featuring Gary Lanier on guitar and vocals and Guy Ritter on vocals. Both of these guys, great performances, great songwriting. And because this album came out so early in the year, I mean, as far as the CD, the physical release, it's kind of like, come on, guys. This album deserves some praise and a little more accolades than I see. They should be invited to play Immortal Fest, my opinion. They've knocked it out of the park. World-class musicianship here. They really is. Guy Ritter, of course, returns to the fold, been away from the faith for many years. Album opener design, and when he screams out, "I can see the design!" It sends chills up and down my spine. A great album, great song. Guy, you know, did I say Gary Lanier? I hope I did. Because Guy Ritter's vocal, Guy Ritter never left the faith, but Gary Lanier did and came back. Let's also not forget Eric Mendez on guitar, former member of Tourniquet, and bassist Anna Santina. She is a beast of a bass guitar player. Absolutely amazing. And I don't have the note, but the drummer, they brought in the drummer from Extol, who played drums on this release. Fantastic. Ambiance and killer songs. Flood, Polarized comes in at number 4. Highlight songs, Design, Biotech Babylon, and the best instrumental of 2022, The Order of Melchizedek. Wow. Absolutely stunning. Coming in at number 3, a Rox Records issue, and some are going, you guys got a lot of Rox stuff on here. Rox put out a lot of new bands this year, and I have a lot of independent stuff on here. So, don't get all twisted around on me on like that. But coming in at number 3 is Fear Not, Field of Sorrows. Bruising, melodic hard rock metal, great hooks, highly memorable. Kicking off the song, which is, in my opinion, the best rock song of the year, Riptide. A brilliant bit of riff rock that gleams a lot of powerful melody and that all-important replayability. I get to the end, I want to hear it again. Rock song of the year. Vocalist Eddie Green has got the chops and grit, and man, does he deliver on this record. The album is full of punchy, bruising tunes that are very memorable. Great production. It hits you hard. Great release. Highlights for me, of course, Song of the Year, Riptide. Yeah, I almost said Album of the Year, but Song of the Year, Riptide. Title track, Field of Sorrow, Voluntary, and also Voluntary Madness. The trifecta, those first 3 songs, other great tunes, on here as well. Field of Sorrows, the album comes in number 3 by Fear Not. Coming in at number 2 is Stryper, The Final Battle. My favorite Stryper album, perhaps in my opinion, the best Stryper album in the last 30 years. That's not to say that all the other albums didn't have moments. They had a lot of peaks and valleys in some of those other records since Against the Law. This album is consistent, wall-to-wall, all killer, no filler, and no syrupy pap. Sorry, Michael. Fantastic performances by all 4 members, great production. Michael continues to show why he is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated vocalists in heavy metal. Because most people, they go, Stryper, It's changed a bit in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, he toured with Boston. He was the singer for Boston for a brief period of time. But he doesn't get the recognition, let alone being a great guitar player himself. Robert drives the train with his pounding drums, thrashing backbeat. Perry Richardson locks in with Robert, and if Perry can do that, man, great bass playing. Of course, Oz Fox delivers some tasty lead playing as well as solid rhythm playing. I believe this album is better than the previous because every single song is just smoking. Rise to the Call, Ashes to Ashes, Transgressor are highlights. Stryper, The Final Battle comes in at number 2, which brings me to my number 1, the best album in my opinion. It deserves it. This band has expanded their palette a bit, incorporating newer elements and aspects that just, it's not the same album over and over and over. It's just not. I'm talking about Saint, Heaven Fell. The album of the year, in my opinion, comes in at number 1. Powerful, crushing, memorable. Lyrically, it's not as direct, and that adds to the overall ominous tone of this record. It's the second album with vocalist David Nelson, and he crushes it. He absolutely crushes it. He doesn't make you think of somebody else. In my review, yes, I'm going, okay, if Josh Kramer, that everybody's, oh, Josh, which is fine. I love Josh Kramer. If he sounds like if he's Rob Halford, David Nelson is kind of that John Bush. He doesn't sound like John Bush, but he's gritty, he's ballsy. Yeah, he's ballsy, and he's got it. He can sing it in any level. The production talents of drummer Jared Nolan shine. They're off the chart here. The production, the arrangements. Matt Smith has guitarist, comes in alongside long-timer Jerry Johnson here. And Matt's been around Saint for a while, don't get me wrong, but they've just really seemed to gel and play off of one another. And their ideas, I think, and I know Jared has a lot of input in that as well. Just a great, great production. Founder Richard Lynch did not have to do the heavy lifting on this album. He didn't have to pull a Steve Harris, where he had to write every song. And I think, in that respect, Saint now has a broader musical palette. How they top this, I have no idea. Saint, Heaven Fell, Album of the Year, Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio. I played Holier Than Thou. We played the title track, Heaven Fell. The Chosen One, ominous tune. My favorite song right now on this record that I've been playing often and endlessly is Dance of the Gods. I'm telling you, if you don't have this album, it's a Boone's, retroactive records. You can get it at Boone's Overstock. This album absolutely is one of the top 3 albums by Saint. Yes, top 3. And yes, Richard Lynch, you heard it, buddy. I heard that interview. I want to hear Warriors of the Sun with David Nelson on vocals. I want to hear it. So now everyone knows you guys have done it. I want to hear it because I bet it kicks butt. I had to watch my words. Someone will get all bent out of shape. Saint, Heaven Fell, #1 album of the year. Highly, highly deserved. Great artistry, a great record. Folks, I went way too long. I didn't get a chance to do honorable mentions. I didn't get a chance to do top reissues of the year. Maybe I'll do that in another video. Please, Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, available in the United States, Canada, and England. I appreciate all of your support in 2022. Let's pray and that 2023 we continue. You guys help and you make it blow it out of the water, shall we? So until the next video, don't forget to say your prayers, and God bless.